It takes a special company making very special cars to generate the level of feeling that Citroën can, and in its golden age, Citroën was certainly special. From the moment André Citroën set his sights on making a car so advanced that it would not need to be replaced for 20 years, Citroën was not just about making and selling cars, it was about pushing the boundaries of design and engineering almost for their own sake. The car that André Citroën pictured was, of course, the traction Avant. And here, right at the start, is the encapsulation of the Citroën story.
But first, our friends at Lancaster Insurance are running monthly giveaways. You can win all sorts, from experience days to tools, restaurant vouchers and tech. So click the link below at the end of the video to enter their latest competition.
Because the traction Avant was stunningly advanced for its time, bringing together for the first time a host of individual cutting-edge car technologies and putting them in a car aimed at the ordinary motorist. Its name came from its front-wheel drive, but it also boasted unitary construction, torsion bar suspension, independent on the front, rack and pinion steering, fully hydraulic brakes, and an overhead valve engine. Variants on the theme would later include the world's first hatchback and what is probably the world's first people carrier. And in the mix of success and failure that so defines Citroën, getting this wonder of the age into production sank Citroën as a company and sent André Citroën himself to an early grave. But under the new ownership of the Michelin tyre firm, the spirit lived on. If anything, it grew stronger. The Michelin years saw the birth of the two most iconic Citroëns of them all. First, the 2CV, the car that defined French motoring and, in many ways, the French way of life for the rest of the century. Designed to allow a French farm to carry potatoes and wine to a market, the 2CV was priced slightly higher than a motorcycle, but boasted some of the most advanced engineering of any car at any price, and some of the most thoughtful. It was so good that it soon found a huge market beyond rural peasants. Put the 2CV alongside other European people's cars like the Volkswagen Beetle, the Fiat 500 or the Mini, and it seems to have come from another world. None of them sound, look, drive or feel remotely like the 2CV, and yet the Citroën can best them all in many key areas and saw off many rivals, not to mention several attempts by Citroën itself to replace it across its 42-year production run, while remaining essentially unchanged. The other iconic Citroën is, of course, the DS. The replacement for the traction Avant was intended to be an even greater leap forward, and it certainly was. It was such a leap that in many ways the rest of the industry never caught up. Action introduced many features which we still see on modern cars, but the DS has some which have yet to reappear. The DS was the first full outing for Citroën's famous hydrogen pneumatic suspension, with its peerlessly smooth, hovercraft-like ride quality, self-levelling, height adjustability and famous drive on three wheels stability. The DS also had the first production front disc brakes powered by high-pressure hydraulics. It had a semi-automatic transmission. It had a structural base unit body with bolt-on external panels incorporating crumple zones and an engine that ducked under the passenger compartment in a crash. It had a plastic roof panel and a plastic dashboard. It had a single-spoke steering wheel. Its wind tunnel-tested teardrop body shape had a drag coefficient so low that it wasn't beaten until the next generation of Citroëns came along, and it wouldn't be the industry norm for 30 years. No car has ever been so far ahead of the state-of-the-art in so many ways in a single moment, and this was 1955, when in Britain Ford still had side-valve engines and Rolls-Royces still had leaf springs, and the DS, remember, wasn't a Rolls-Royce, it was a mass-produced large family saloon. That's what Citroën did when it was at its peak. It envisioned the future, brought it to reality, and put it on sale for the world to buy. Nothing was off limits. In the 1970s, Citroën rethought even the concept of the dashboard dial from first principles, replacing it with the famous fisheye rotating drums on the GS and the CX. The CX had a concave glass rear window and steering that could centre itself without human touch. Even under Peugeot ownership, there were flashes of the old brilliance, be it the lightweight origami body of the BX or the Star Wars-like wedge of the XM. In a world where the car is under ever more scrutiny and we're being forced to reckon with the downsides of our relationship with the car, the classic Citroëns take you back to a time when car ownership was something people still aspired to and saw as progress and looked on with a sense of optimism. And they are a glimpse into what people, at least the people at Citroën, thought the future could be. One of smooth rides, comfortable seats, ergonomic controls, safe interiors, intelligent design and radical engineering made available to all for the benefit of the ordinary person. A future of motoring that we will never see again, but which we can relive every time we sit behind a single-spoke steering wheel, grasp a dash-mounted gear change, or just see a car from 1955 that still looks like it came from space. As the company itself used to say, nothing moves you like a Citroën.
This video is proudly sponsored by Lancaster Insurance. Give them a call on 01480 400 889 for an insurance quote on your classic car. And don't forget to click the link below to enter their latest competition.